To finish the soup broth, enough mirepoix should be added to flavor the liquid without overpowering the flavor of the main ingredient. In this case, we are using about 3 parts chicken to 1 part mirepoix. Once the mirepoix is added, top up with water, if needed, to ensure everything is just covered. The next step is to season the liquid and add the bouquet garni. Salt is used to season the broth and to help draw out the flavor of the ingredients. Because the broth is being used as a soup, the ratio of salt can be a bit higher, approximately a half a teaspoon of table salt for every liter or quart of water. Next, add the bouquet garni. Make sure to tuck it underneath the surface and continue to simmer the broth. Delicate meats should be cooked just until they are done. Any longer than this will only dry out the meat, so make sure to test for doneness periodically. Once the meat has just cooked through, remove the pieces and set them aside to cool slightly. Note: when making broths with tougher cuts such as oxtail or beef shank, the meat should be cooked until it's tender and falling off the bone. Once the meat is cool enough to handle, remove the meat and set aside, making sure to reserve the bones. The meat can either be added back to the broth at the end of cooking to form part of the soup, or it can be used in other dishes. Return the reserved bones to the pot to extract as much flavor as possible. If needed, top up with just enough cold water to cover and continue to simmer for about an hour. When the broth has finished cooking, remove the solids and discard. Then strain the broth through a sieve lined with cheesecloth and remove any excess fat. At this point, taste the broth. If the proper ratio of meat and mirepoix to liquid was used, it should be flavorful as is. However, if it is bland, it can be simmered and reduced slightly to concentrate the flavors. You now have a beautiful broth that can be served as is, or it can be used as the base to make a variety of different soups.